sprints for a first down, runs through a bear, and Adrian's gone. He's inside the 40. 2015 Fin 5. Spectacular run by Adrian Peterson.
Good morning and welcome to a live Sports Center. I am Matt Berry. Kevin Agandi along in a minute. But first, there was breaking news overnight in the NFL. The Minnesota Vikings did a complete reversal from their press conference on Monday regarding Adrian Peterson and his availability this week and the rest of the season stemming from charges of child abuse. In baseball, two more teams are in the postseason. The Beltway has a pair of division champs with the Orioles and Nationals clinching last night. We'll have complete highlights and reaction on the way. But the news that came out just after 2 a.m. Eastern, the Vikings changing course with their running back Adrian Peterson. Here's Kevin Agandi with more.
Matt, the big story this morning, the Vikings telling franchise star Adrian Peterson to stay away from the team while he addresses child abuse charges in Texas. Now, shortly before 2 a.m. Eastern, the Vikings made the announcement that they placed Peterson on the exempt commissioner's permission list. This news comes less than 2 days after the team publicly stated that Peterson could come back to the team and play while the legal process played out. Peterson was deactivated this past Sunday after he was indicted on felony charges of child abuse in Montgomery County, Texas, for using a switch, which is a wooden stick, from a tree to spank his 4-year-old son. 29-year-old Peterson has maintained that he was disciplining his son, similar to how he was raised, and didn't intend to hurt him. Pictures of the child's bruises were made public, and mounting pressure from Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton and Viking sponsors, including the Radisson hotel chains, suspending their sponsorship with the team, had continued to build over the past 48 hours. The Vikings ownership released this statement overnight, in part reading, "While we were trying to make a balanced decision yesterday, after further reflection, we have concluded that this resolution is best for the Vikings and for Adrian. We want to be clear. We have a strong stance regarding the protection and welfare of children, and we want to be sure we get this right. At the same time, we want to express our support for Adrian and acknowledge his 7+ years of outstanding commitment to this organization and this community." Adrian emphasized his desire to avoid further distraction to his teammates and coaches while focusing on his current situation. This resolution accomplishes these objectives as well, end quote.
The agent released this statement to the Associated Press, quote, "This is the best possible outcome given the circumstances. Adrian understands the gravity of the situation, and this enables him to take care of his personal situation. We fully support Adrian, and he looks forward to watching his teammates and coaches being successful during his absence." As you would imagine, as morning papers were printed, the headlines short and swift. The New York Post offered this: Peterson benched.
Matt, Peterson's first court appearance is October 8th. NFL insider Ed Werder joining us this morning. So Nike stores, they pulled Peterson's jerseys off the shelves in the Twin Cities. Castro Motor Oil and Special Olympics Minnesota, they cut ties with Peterson. This is all at less than 48 hours since GM Rick Spielman publicly said this, quote, "We believe Peterson deserves to play while the legal process plays out," end quote. What changed, Ed?
Well, part of what you mentioned, NFL sponsors began lining up and demanding some accountability on these issues with not only Adrian Peterson, but Greg Hardy and Ray Rice, and just all of these players who have violated the personal conduct policy, or so it would seem. You talk about the Nike decision. Nike pays the NFL $1.1 billion over their term of their deal for apparel. Anheuser-Busch also came out publicly yesterday and expressed its dissatisfaction. That's a $1.1 billion deal. So all of these people, these corporate sponsors, were weighing in, and they wanted some action done. They don't want their brands associated with this sort of thing. Talking to a league source this morning, they said that this is a good decision that will allow Adrian Peterson to resolve his personal issues and allow the Vikings to return their focus to the field. You mentioned the October 8th date. Until Adrian Peterson resolves these legal issues that are still outstanding, he cannot return to the Vikings, and he's not eligible to play in an NFL game. So that would mean unless he strikes a plea bargain or somehow else this charge goes away before October 8th, he'll be off the field until at least then. He is, however, still paid under this unique designation that is seldom used by the NFL.
Okay, Vikings issued the statement last night or early this morning. How much of a role did the NFL play in this decision?
Well, the NFL was significantly involved in this for the reasons that we just talked about, which is this pressure from sponsorship, pressure in the state of Minnesota from politicians, including the governor. Don't forget, the public taxpayers are partners in the new stadium that's being built there. They've invested about $500 million in this deal, and so they get a vote when things like this happen. And clearly this is going to raise questions about the leadership of the Vikings. Rick Spielman, new head coach Mike Zimmer, only 3 weeks into the regular season, dealing with a crisis of epic proportions that very few coaches are ever exposed to during the course of their coaching career. So this is going to be a real significant challenge. He was supposed to be on the field or in meetings right now, and instead he's been banished by the NFL and by the Vikings. And it's interesting, Kevin, that the Vikings were lauded on Friday for their immediate reaction to these charges, which was to deactivate Adrian Peterson. The Carolina Panthers, of course, did not do that, even though their star player